fighting games are a marvel. There really isn't anything like getting set up with your buddy and going at it and punching the hell out of each other. Virtually, of course. You've got your Street Fighters, your KOF, your Mortal Kombat, Tekken, Soul Calibur, Darkstalkers, Skullgirls, Fatal Fury, Smash Brothers, Killer Instinct, and my gosh, there are so many fighting game series to play with. Also, being a comic geek, there's a series I have loved since my preschool days that lets me put my two favorite characters together to punch the crap out of other characters I love. Marvel vs. Capcom. While this series started all the way back with X-Men vs. Street Fighter and had several games released after, I'm going to focus on the original Clash of Superheroes for the arcade, Dreamcast, PlayStation, and PSN and Xbox Live. Some fighting games today have pretty fleshed out stories. This wasn't really a thing for a long time. In this game, you pick two of your favorite Marvel or Capcom characters, battle a few other Marvel or Capcom characters, and face off against the mighty Magneto Professor X hybrid, Onslaught, who is a fantastic character from the story arc that was going on in the Marvel comics at this game's release, but is also insanely hard to beat and you probably shouldn't even bother. But other than that, there is absolutely no explanation as to how all these characters meet or why they're fighting each other, and for a fighting game in the 90s, that's just fine. Even though a good number of the sprites in this game are reused from other Street Fighter and Darkstalkers games, you really wouldn't ever know. The beautiful hand-drawn sprites in this game fit so well into the backgrounds and color schemes of the entire game. Doing an attack or a hyper combo looks extremely flashy and entertaining, which helps make the gameplay all the more satisfying. And the music, oh my gosh, the music. Every character has a specific theme, and these are so good they're still being used in newer MVC games. The game is just really exciting, even to watch, because of all the flash and craziness on screen at any given time. The stages are beautifully drawn and do well capturing the spirit of the game or comic they're from. All in all, this game's presentation makes me really miss those beautiful hand-drawn 2D games. That's not to say 3D fighting games aren't pretty, but there's a certain magic to games like this. As fighting games go, this is pretty standard. It's a 6-button fighter where you build meter by being hit or dealing damage, and use that meter to execute crazy awesome hyper combos to do even more damage to your opponent. You're also given a choice of assist character, which you can call out a set number of times in battle to help you. Other than that, there isn't much in this game to stand out from other fighters in terms of gameplay, other than it being hilariously broken. There are secret characters in this game as well that you can unlock through devilishly complicated codes and conditions, and a few of these characters are just way overpowered, like Red Venom, or Carnage as I call him. Hulk and Zangief are also some of my least favorite characters to fight against, as they are absolute bloody tanks. I even have a very dark history with Zangief, and I just absolutely despise the Russian grappler. However, in some ways, the game's brokenness is a big part of what makes it fun, just like the other Marvel games. Seeing all the crazy shit that goes down in this game, whether you're winning or losing, is always a blast. Unless you're playing against someone and they're spamming attacks just to be an asshole. But that doesn't mean multiplayer with someone who isn't the spawn of Satan isn't an absolute blast. All in all, this is one of the most fun fighting games ever released and can be played for hours on end. Thankfully, the console versions of this game have difficulty settings, although this won't matter much because even the lowest difficulty can be pretty hard. I mentioned earlier that the boss character, Onslaught, is a huge bastard, and I cannot stress this enough. Even if you make it through the arcade mode pretty smoothly, when you reach this giant monolith of destruction, expect some frustration. This game's arcade mode is pretty difficult and will take a lot of practice to conquer, unless you're me and you can fight like a champion. In terms of length, most fighting games are based on replayability instead of a drawn-out campaign, and the same holds true here. The arcade mode won't hold much weight until you can beat it easily and see all the character endings, which aren't really worth it, but where this game becomes a long endeavor is the multiplayer. You will have so much fun fighting your friends over and over, and the most recent version of this game even has online multiplayer. But however you play this game, you'll be in for hours of fun. This game is phenomenal. It's flashy, exciting, broken, and an absolute joy to play for fans of Marvel, Capcom, or just fighting games in general. Pitting your favorite characters together to fight it out has a charming majesty to it. I've been playing this game since I was in preschool, and I just love it to death. The Dreamcast version is pretty expensive, and you should stay far away from the PlayStation version as it suffers from horrible frame rate problems and is wildly watered down. However, you can download Marvel vs. Capcom Origins off the PSN or Xbox Live Arcade, which is awesome as it supports fight sticks, online play, different visual modes, HD graphics, and it even comes with Marvel Superheroes, an older game in the series with the same features I just mentioned. I can't really find anything wrong with this game, other than it being broken. And with that, this classic gets the Nostalgia Pixel rating of 9 out of 10. Thank you very much, and please remember to like, favorite, and subscribe. There are plenty more videos to come, so stick around. And please leave suggestions for top 10s or game reviews down below. And with that, this classic gets the Nostalgia Picture... Nostalgia Picture. Change the name of the channel, guys. Nostalgia Picture.